everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I am Daniela Schwartzman, Strategic Partnerships Manager at BayWa r.e. Super excited about today's webinar when we discuss the exclusive Sungage and BayWa r.e. Equipment Bundle Program. Thank you all so much for joining. With us is today Matt Thompson. He's the head of the Strategic Partnerships at Sungage Financial. Hi, Matt. Thank you for joining. And we have Jordan Torres. He is our very own finance program manager. Hi, Jordan. Thank you for being here today.
Of course. Thank you.
So yeah, awesome. While everyone is logging on, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. As always, you have some really important tools here. Your biggest one, your most important one is the Q&A. That's your way to communicate with us, to ask your questions, to also, if you have any comments, or additional information you would like to share with us, Q&A is where we would like you to post this. The chat is only used for sharing some important resources. So you'll see a couple of links in the chat, a little bit about BayWa and how you can get in touch with us and some of our products you can look at. And any other information that we'd like to share with you during the webinar, you'll find in the chat. So without further ado, let's jump into the next slide and just share a little bit about who BayWa is. If you haven't partnered with us or you have partnered with us, then you know by partnering with BayWa, you can count on us. Your success isn't just supported, it's really our main priority. And how we do that in a couple of different ways. The first important thing to know is smarter planning, so forecasting. Stay ahead of your demand with accurate forecasting and a dedicated account manager who always has your back. If you don't know who your account manager is, you can reach out, just check out the link in the chat. Easy, fast purchasing. One of the unique features about BayWa is we have a really outstanding web store, easy to use, available 24/7. You can streamline your operations and procurement. It's user-friendly, it's real-time pricing, real-time stock levels, immediate ordering, so no friction, no delays. Check that out and take advantage of that. Commercial project confidence. So commercial services tap into expert planning and precise inventory forecasting to keep your commercial jobs running smoothly from design all the way to delivery. We have an outstanding commercial services expert help desk, and our colleagues are here for you. Transparent and consistent pricing, that's a big one. So you can rely on stable pricing across all strategically located US warehouses. There are no surprises, no hidden fees, no differences here. Reliable logistics nationwide. Your products can be accessed quickly thanks to strategically located warehouses across the country. We always expand, so we just put on a couple of new locations online, like Houston. So check out your warehouse right in your vicinity, right in your backyard. Direct to job site delivery. So your products can be directly delivered to your job or construction site. That saves you time and skips any extra steps. So these are just a couple of examples how BayWa can help you improve your business, increase your revenues, and really support you on all these levels. And if you are a US-based solar installer and not yet working with us, just check out the links in the chat, discover how your business can benefit from working with us, and then a representative will be reaching out to you shortly. So without further ado, I am really pleased to hand over the mic to Matt. Matt, take it away.
Thank you, Daniela. I'm going to pop these slides up. All right, I'm Matt Thompson. I'm our head of strategic partnerships. Here's our first poll question that we're going to put on the screen for everyone.
Yes. All right. So everybody, please cast your vote. How does ownership fit into your 2026 sales strategies? You have one choice. So ownership is our primary offering. That's the first answer category. Offered most deals close as lease or PPA. primary lease PPA, but working to grow ownership. And then the last option here is I'm still evaluating our post 25D approach. So this is an important one. Please, everybody, if you can, it's anonymous. Just cast your vote here. It will help us tremendously to make sure that you get the information that you came here for. Give them maybe a couple more seconds. Thank you all for participating in this fun one. So without giving away too much, Matt, it looks like ownership is our primary offering, followed by offered most deals close as lease PPA. So, but the majority is really working on ownership. So do you
That's
have any
exciting.
comments? What do you
I do,
think?
yeah. I mean, since we are a ownership-based fintech, that is exciting for us to see, certainly. And the results are a little surprising, given, how the market's skewed right now, but also encouraging to see that ownership is the primary offering for well over 50% of the participants here in this webinar. So, thank you for that. That's great.
Yeah, and there's still 17% of people who are still evaluating their post 25D approach. So this webinar is really for you guys. Thank you so much for everyone participating.
And I'd encourage everybody that's still evaluating their post 25D approach to reach out to our team. Our account managers can talk you through why we think ownership makes sense to have at least as part of your strategy. And, throughout the slides that I'm going to go through coming up here, I think it'll become apparent that it makes sense to have it be part of, one of the tools in your toolbox when you're working with and selling to homeowners. All right, so a little bit about the background of Sungage for everybody that's unfamiliar on the webinar. We were founded in 2011, so we just had our 15-year anniversary, and we're really excited about that. So our founder Sarah Ross wanted to put solar on her home that she was building in Western Massachusetts, and at that time, TPO was really the only option outside of a bank loan or a HELOC, and that didn't make sense for her. And at that point, she kind of identified a problem. So Sarah started working with a local Massachusetts installer to pilot a program where she would lend out of her daughter's college savings. So we're talking very grassroots effort at this point. Very cool. And 15 years later, the college fund is paid back. Sungage has issued billions of dollars in solar loans, and we are serving the market at large nationally. We're a full national provider, and we're excited that we have the opportunity to originate solar loans for everybody here. We're partners with the Carlyle Group as both a funding source and a strategic investor, and that gives us the backing and stability we need to navigate the solar coaster that everybody jokes around about. And with all the uncertainty you've seen in the solar fintech space, our partnership with Carlyle gives us the ability to not be constrained by financial capacity and run a long-term, very healthy business. Here at Sungage, we pride ourselves on partnership, customer service, and the ability to be creative with loan structures to really meet the market where it is today. We started as a residential solar lender, and we're based in ownership, and we remain highly committed to those kind of core founding principles of ownership is an important thing in solar when you're shopping for it for many, many homeowners. So a few of I'll start with some foundational differentiators of our product. And over the last year, the landscape of solar financing has changed significantly post 25D. We have kind of doubled down on loans and ownership. We've maintained our credit box and our competitive features to keep solar ownership within reach for homeowners. We are always a soft pull with Experian. So when you apply for a solar loan with us, it's a soft pull all the way through funding. That credit pull is never going to show up on your credit report. 90% of projects are funded within 2 business days, creating, a better cash flow scenario than many folks are used to these days. 9 out of 10 projects are approved with 670 plus FICOs. We don't look at DTI for applications with 700 plus FICO. We offer unlimited reamortizations, and there's a caveat there. It has to be at least $2,500 to make it worthwhile to do. And with those reamortizations, you can either lower your monthly payment or you can shorten the term of the loan. So we can dive more into that on a more detailed call about our product. But one of the most exciting things I think is our AVL. And we have 142 manufacturers on our AVL, meaning there's a lot more flexibility with what you can sell with an ownership product. You're not constrained by FIAC or a domestic content adder. You can sell what you want at the price point you want and stay in control of those margins and stay in control of your sale and how you're running your business. Jump to the next slide. All right, so we have three different formats of solar and storage loans at Sungage. The first is our newest product, that's why I led with it, and it's quickly become a very, very popular one for us. It gained traction quickly. So it's the Sunrise loan. It's an escalator product. For EPCs and sales orgs that are used to selling a TPO product, this is a very, very similar format. There's 20 and 25-year terms available, ranging from 399 APR to 599, and the monthly payment increases 2.9% every year. And so in a world of rising utility rates, the loan payment increases significantly slower than the national average for the escalation of electricity prices. The Sunrise loan offers the lowest initial monthly payment of any of our products. When coupled with non-FIAC equipment bundles from BayWa, which I'm excited to hear Jordan talk about here a little bit later in the webinar, this loan can be right around or at parity with a TPO payment, plus you own the system, giving you a lot more control. Like all of our loans, there's no prepayment penalties and unlimited reamortizations. Second one I'm going to talk about, and really the third one as well on the same slide, is our Bright Start loan. So this mirrors the format that the industry is the most familiar with and the solar loan that's been around the longest. The deferral amount and the length that it's deferred for has changed a bit. So this loan's available in 5 through 30-year terms. 30 years available for select partners with APRs all the way down to 299. We offer 25% deferral for 36 months, so 3 years, and that deferral percentage is flexible and can be up to 50% of the loan amount by factoring in state and local incentives. This amount can also be lower to accommodate the goals of the person buying the system as well. So we keep it very, very flexible and let the sales rep and the homeowner decide what's right for them. And we're always happy to talk through what makes sense with anybody selling our products.
Yeah, can I jump in here with a quick question? So, can you clarify a little bit more how to decide when to lead with what? When to lead with Sunrise versus Bright Start in a
Sure.
homeowner conversation?
Yeah, absolutely. So with if you're looking for the lowest initial monthly payment, you're always going to want to lead with the Sunrise product because that's what that offers. If you're looking for the lowest total cost of ownership, you'll want to lead with the Bright Start product. And in areas with state or local incentives as well, we can factor those state and local incentives into the deferred portion of the Bright Start loan, offering an incredibly competitive initial monthly payment. So in those big incentive markets like Illinois or New York, and there's about 13 or 14 of them across the country. The Bright Start loan really is a great thing to look at, and we've had a ton of success with it. Um, and the format allows for the homeowner to have at least 3 years of low monthly payments while realizing solar savings and watching the costs of the utility escalate and getting used to having solar on their home and in their lives. With the Bright Start product, level pay is also an option. You can eliminate that deferred portion entirely. And level pay is a standard flat installment loan like you're seeing everywhere else in the industry. So if you're looking for predictable monthly payments that stay the same for the life of the loan, then maybe that's a good option for your homeowner. And you don't have to decide which one of these you're going to sell to everybody. You can decide this homeowner's the right person for Sunrise, this person's the right person for Bright Start, and that one's the right one for level pay. You can decide right at the kitchen table when you're asking your qualifying questions and you're doing your discovery with the homeowner. So the Bright Start loan,
There,
Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a follow-up question on this one. If there are no incentives available, is Bright Start still the lowest cost of ownership?
It still is the lowest cost, total cost of ownership. Yes.
Thank you.
In the next slide here, I'm going to compare the three products on a chart so you can kind of watch where they stack up next to each other and where the monthly payments intersect. So I think this is always a helpful graphic. It's great to hear me talk about how they work, but it's also helpful to look at a chart, right? Everybody loves a chart. So the first line that I'm going to explain here is that green line. And this example, I guess I should lead with it's a $45,000 loan for 25 years at 399. So we'll start with that kind of as a foundation. The green line is the level pay line. As you can see, that line's flat. The loan payment's $238.07 for the life of the loan. It never changes. That's what the loan payment is. The blue line that stays the same in the beginning goes up at the end of year 3, month 36. That's the Bright Start loan. So the initial monthly payment there is $184.90. If the homeowner chooses to pay down the deferred portion, that payment will remain the same. If the homeowner opts not to pay down the deferred portion, that loan payment will jump to 249.26. And that yellow line, the one that looks like a staircase there, is the Sunrise loan. So as you can see, it offers the lowest initial monthly payment and goes up over time. And the way we look at it is it's going up significantly slower than your electricity bill will go up. And at the bottom there, there's a chart, and it shows the total cost of ownership here for all three products. And that's a good place to kind of reinforce the fact that the lowest cost of ownership is the Bright Start loan. So Bright Start level pay is the lowest by a little bit there, and Bright Start with the deferred portion slightly higher. And the Sunrise loan is about $3,000 higher total cost of ownership on the Sunrise. But you get the lowest initial monthly payment. Can jump to the next slide. So Sungage has also, on top of solar loans, some very, very competitive battery-only financing options and solar plus roof and battery options. So for battery-only options, we offer the same products that we talked about before, 5 through 20 years. So the max term on a battery-only loan option is 20 years, and that max loan amount is $50,000. For solar plus roof or battery, we go up to $150,000 and offer terms out to 25 years and 30 for select partners. For these projects, roof or battery can be up to 75% of the project. So Sunrise, Bright Start, and Level Pay loan products are available for battery only. And I'm going to wrap up with why we are committed to solar ownership. So, at the beginning of the presentation, I mentioned our commitment to ownership, and we're founded on that principle that homeowners get more benefit from owning their system, and we're standing behind that 15 years later. 25D did create headwinds for solar loans, but the value proposition for owning the solar, it still holds true today. The long-term savings attached to ownership is still strong, and the flexibility of owning solar is key. Ownership, one of the main things that makes ownership great is the ability to expand your system as your electricity demand changes. It's very easy to add on to that. And if a homeowner, so if you wanted to add a few more panels, you buy an electric car, or you want to add a hot tub to your home, you can always expand your system. And that's very easy to do when you're in total control of the system and you own it. If homeowners decide to participate in a VPP, a virtual power plant program, with ownership, the homeowner realizes all of the benefits and has the flexibility to control that battery. With a TPO company, when you're doing a VPP, the TPO company controls the VPP and significantly less savings are passed along to the homeowner. Utility rates are going to continue to rise, demand's going to continue to grow, and I think the overall messaging here is flexibility is key. As an installer, selling ownership gives you more control of your business. You sell the product you want with our expansive AVL, and hopefully you're in contact with BayWa buying these products. And you get paid quickly. You get paid at install, maintaining healthy cash flows and lower accounts receivable. Operationally, the process is also significantly less arduous. There's less photos, shorter review process, and less back office work to get things to NTP and to get paid. So our loan options are designed to offer low monthly payments and a competitive credit box, and that means more approvals. Selling Sungage also gives you access to low-cost equipment through BayWa's bundling program, and you can improve your margins and offer more competitively priced systems to homeowners.
A couple questions here, and I think I know the answer, but maybe it's important for everyone to hear that. Does Sungage offer any commercial loans when combining solar and roofs?
We do not. No commercial loans. The home has to be zoned as residential. We look at what the meter is zoned as.
Thank you. And the other question is on fast funding, and I hope I'm not. It's not coming on a later slide, but can you talk through the disbursement schedule, the milestones, or is this something that's still going to come?
Yeah, we can talk about that. And certainly there are a few different tracks for disbursements at Sungage. Our most common track is 100% at install. So you click a button that says that the project is installed and you submit photos, we review them, and we fund you within 2 business days. There are some cases, there's some folks that are on a 90-10 track or an 80-20 track, depending on states and regulations and things like that. But our most common disbursement schedule is 100% at install.
That sounds amazing.
And I guess also on the topic of disbursements, with direct pay with BayWa, when that payment is made, the amount that you've agreed to pay BayWa is ACH directly to BayWa, and the remaining balance is ACH to you, the installer.
Perfect. Thank you.
Of course.
Oh, let's talk, guys. Poll question number 2. Which Sungage product would you benefit from learning more about after today's overview? We're going to launch the poll momentarily. Here it is. Your choices, and you please just pick one. Sunrise, Bright Start with a deferred payment portion, Bright Start level pay, or the last categories. I feel confident in my understanding of the products. So pick one. That's super exciting. Give you a couple more seconds. Please cast your vote. And also post your questions around these. If you're not really clear on how to answer this question, or you want to explore some options more, please post it in the Q&A so we can address those. It looks like the majority feels confident, about 50%, in their understanding of the products. And Sunrise and Bright Start with deferred payment portion kind of like are even out at about a fifth of everyone who answered. Is that a surprise to you, Matt, or how would you comment the results?
No, it's not a surprise. I feel great that so many folks feel like they have a great understanding of the products that we offer. And we are kind of split down the middle between Sunrise and Bright Start, with level pay being the least commonly used loan that we have. So I don't think this surprises me at all. It seems to track with what we're seeing in our business.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of other questions related to what you just spoke to. So is there a clawback if PTO is not achieved within 180 days from installation approval? Funding.
Yes, there is a clawback if PTO is not achieved. When we claw back the funds, we will hold on to them and allow you to reach PTO, and then we'll send those funds back to you when you do reach PTO. So it doesn't mean the project's over, but we do need to claw back the funds at that point. If you get in touch with us and say that the job is not going to reach PTO or the job's canceled or something like that, we'll cancel out that loan and we can work through that.
Okay, perfect. And do any loans pair with prepaid PPAs?
Not currently. It's something that, as a business, we're taking a very hard look at, and trying to figure out how to get out into the marketplace at some point. But today, you cannot pair our loan with a prepaid PPA or lease.
And the last question, is there a tool to do a side-by-side comparison of the three products when at the table with a client? So targeting really like how to have this conversation. How can I assess that in the moment?
Yes, we have an excellent calculator in our Sungage portal where you can input everything and calculate those payments. And if you work with a proposal tool, you can generally, there's generally a comparison tool within most of the integrations that we have as well across the industry.
Perfect. So maybe we can share the portal link here in the chat so we can have access to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for the questions. Okay, we are at this point where we are going to hand it over to Jordan. Jordan Torres, our finance program manager. He's going to speak specifically to the partnership with Sungage Financial and how your business can benefit from the program and the bundles that we are running.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Daniela. Yeah, so my name is Jordan Torres. I am the finance program manager here at BayWa, and to put that simply, my job is to make sure that you and your company is not hindered by financing options or associated processes. If you're curious about direct pay or any of our financing partners, reach out to me. I'm happy to help. If you want to add Sungage to your direct pay program, and add direct pay to your company, give me a call. We'd be happy to take a look at that and get that program moving forward for you. But today, I really wanted to take a couple minutes to talk briefly about our industry, maybe point some things out that could help you and your business in today's market. It's no secret that, it's not the best of hands that we were dealt, but here we are moving forward and finding paths to success nonetheless. In today's market, you all, the installers and EPCs, you're looking for the same control that many homeowners are looking for, right? Just as our customers are turning to solar for stability through control, we're seeing much of the industry do the same and find, again, many successful paths forward. It feels like every day there's some new change to our industry, and yet every day there is also data and insight showing that all these installers finding success, there's a few key things that we're seeing as a trend between those different companies, right? Many of those successful companies are sitting on this call. So, for starters, one of the things they're doing differently is they're understanding their business at a fundamental level because they are making frequent and honest evaluations about their business. Okay, they're really looking at themselves in the mirror and saying, where can processes be cleaner? What do we need to expand upon? And how do we do that strategically? And if you're able to do this honestly, you're able to move forward and progress as a company much, much more strategically in today's market, right? They are adapting to the market, but they're also using this strong understanding of their business to do so methodically. One example, sometimes a seemingly small decision like adding a finance option for your team to sell can have a massive impact on your processes, your timelines, and your volume, much to Matt's point earlier. We can go ahead and jump to the next slide. So ignore the slides just for a moment. We'll get to those in just a second. But one of the big things I want to talk about when it comes to TPOs, right? They can be incredibly effective in specific markets, right? No one's going to disagree with that. But they can also be completely unusable in others. So you have to know your markets, right? You as business owners, program managers, you're looking at this and saying, yeah, okay, certain markets it works great, certain markets we can use this. But you need to also know your company's needs, right? Cash and loan projects, they tend to have much less back end work and therefore faster deployment of funds typically. And overall, they're just streamlined and they're efficient from start to finish, especially when you utilize a partner like Sungage and ideally on our direct pay program for an even more streamlined process. Financing products, though, they're often selected based on the sales needs, right? Sales related factors. A sales leader comes to you and says, we're getting beat by this product in this market. And if we had X financing program or X financing product, we could do so much more volume, right? We've all heard that before. And the inclination as problem solvers, we want to jump to our feet and run out and add that financing product and roll it out ASAP. More tools equals more volume, which means more profit, right? Well, it heavily depends on your business and how you're set up and if you can handle some of the extra back end work that typically come with some other financing products. It is crucial that the processes and timelines and requirements like an AVL are factored into making your decision. Okay? Using a TPO product requires a fundamentally different process. It's not that it's right or wrong or one product's better or another. I just want to highlight the differences to the back end process. Okay? The point of sale and document signing is about where the similarities between the two products, between a loan and a TPO end, right? With the TPO, again, you typically have those longer timelines and a little bit more paperwork on the back end, but a much more strict AVL to select from. So now, with that said, let's take a look at some bombs we have here. As you can see, due to FIOC and domestic content requirements, the TPO bomb shown in example 1 does have a higher list price, even though bomb 2 is very, very similar. To make things even more interesting, another option that you could bundle with a Sungage loan, for example, would be the cost-effective option in the third box, right? Now, these are just 3 examples. When you work with BayWa, you would be able to communicate your exact needs to your sales rep and your sales team. They would then be able to work with you to ensure you have the exact right materials in order to conquer any given market. You'll make sure you know those materials inside out. You'll be able to know the availability of those products. And our sales team is so incredible, and they would love to work with you and collaborate with you in that discussion. But it's not where our work really ends, though. We have an incredible web store that I did want to call out. I'm glad Daniela spoke on it earlier, but our web store would allow you to build quotes and orders all while seeing your live pricing. So let's say you did want to move forward on a Sungage project, you would be able to see your live pricing, get a quote, get an estimate, move that quote to an order, and proceed all with a few clicks. You can also you can compare items. If you wanted to see 2 different panels against each other, you can compare items very quickly and efficiently. You can pull spec sheets, install manuals, and see real-time inventory quantities per warehouse with BayWa. So it's an incredibly useful tool. I definitely wanted to call out. These bombs are just examples. Work with our sales team to make sure that you find the right bundle for you, and then you can use our web store to make sure you process orders very, very efficiently and easy for you and your team. You always want to make sure you have the best tools available. Effectively, you want to bring in more volume effectively and efficiently, but at the same time, you have to always remember that you have the optimized processes for your team and make sure everything is flowing smoothly for them. As we heard just a few minutes ago, Sungage can help with both of those items, but so can BayWa. Whether you're collaborating with your sales rep, like I mentioned, or ideally exploring a direct pay financing solution with myself, or just placing an order in our web store, we can help streamline your processes and help you strategize for your growth. Okay, next slide. All right, there we go. To put it plainly, there is no one size fits all solution, right? There's not one for our
Pardon?
homeowners. Oh, go ahead.
Pardon, sorry to interrupt. If you
No,
could jump
please.
back real quick and like you put the examples of the bomb here. Could you just elaborate a little bit more how this is like making a difference?
Yeah,
Why do we put this? Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you. So the big difference, as you can see, take example 1 and 2. Example 1 would be for a TPO bomb. So it does have a higher cost, just baseline cost, simply because of that domestic content and fiat compliance requirement. And the AVL as a whole, when you're using a TPO financing product, is much more limited. So you typically are being forced to use the domestic content, the fiat, required products. And so again, it has that higher cost. But if you look at example 2 for pretty much the exact same list, because it doesn't have the domestic content threshold, it's much more affordable. right? It's a lower cost threshold. And then again, in the third example, because you're not using a TPO in this example, right? Again, maybe a Sungage project is coming through, you would have the option to use examples 2 and 3 in these bombs. And again, this is just 3 examples. We can customize this to your needs, but it's a much more affordable bomb overall because again, you're not having to meet the specific thresholds or specific AVLs that you're being held to when you use the TPO product. Perfect. And good question, Daniela. Thank you. All right. Get this here. So again, like I was saying, there's no real one size fits all, right? I would love to sit here and say, do this and your business will thrive for the next 4 years, right? But just like there's no one size fits all solution for our homeowners, right? Our customers, we still have to size the system and get that right. It's the same with your business, right? There's no one size fits all solution. And here at BayWa, we acknowledge that, right? Evaluate your business, do it frequently and honestly. Utilize internal and external insight to make sure that you're exploring all avenues, but you're doing it strategically as you grow your company, right? Maybe you see one finance product struggle in a particular market. Maybe you're looking to expand and could use some market insight into a new territory that you're moving into. Maybe you want to use a cost-effective bomb to help kickstart your new business in that new market and win some quick jobs. No matter what path best optimizes your business, BayWa and our amazing partners are all here to support you. We can help you navigate this ever-changing market with confidence. And if you ever find yourself in a position of uncertainty or adaptation, please reach out to us. We're here to help. That's it.
All right, let's jump into the next poll question. What is the biggest opportunity for improvement in residential solar today? So we have cash flow and operations, leveraging lower cost non-FIA compliant equipment, regulatory adaptation, homeowner education, and something else. Please feel free to use the Q&A, please, for any of the things that we have not thought of. Let's see, cast your vote. Thank you, Jordan. That was really great, especially the partnership piece is really big. We work with Sungage very successfully, and this is a no-brainer for some of you, right? Depending on your business. Let's leverage that tremendous partnership and offering. We are really appreciative of Sungage Financial supporting us. All right, let's see, 10 more seconds maybe. Cast your vote. Okay, I think no one else is voting anymore. So we have a little bit more even up. There's a little bit more even distribution. Ahead of the curve is with 41% leveraging lower cost non-FIA compliant equipment, followed by homeowner education and then cash flow and operations. Anyone, Jordan, Matt, if you want to comment on those results.
I'll take one. Matt took a couple of them earlier. No, I'm still kind of digesting this, but I love that leveraging the lower costs, non-fiat compliant equipment is so up there. I very much agree with that. I think that's a huge opportunity. Homeowner education, I agree with as well. The homeowners that we're seeing are more educated than they were 8 years ago, but there's still so much more, advancement we can do there. So I very much like this cash flow and operations. Yeah, very well thought out.
Matt, what do you think about that? Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I mean, it's encouraging to see that people are interested in leveraging low-cost non-fiat compliant equipment because it pairs very well with what we do and how we are running our business. I think all these things, I think it's a combination of all these things that are really important. You can't run a business without the right cash flow and operation considerations. So managing cash flows is super important and something that we support with our disbursements and how we interact with projects. But in order to do that, it's really important to leverage that non-FIAC compliant equipment to come up with very competitively priced systems. Homeowner education is always important. The industry or the homeowner base at large is getting smarter and understanding more about solar as years go by. You can look at some of the more mature markets, and homeowners are asking better questions, and they're much more informed than they used to be. And regulatory adaptation is key, right? In this climate that we're in now, we're dealing with so many political and regulatory headwinds by individual states. It's hard to keep up with. We do a tremendous amount of work on our side, and I'm sure BayWa does as well on state-specific regulations. So, what I would say about regulatory stuff is if you work with us and you have any questions about your state's environment or you want to bounce something off an account manager, happy to chat. We're not lawyers, but we have them, and we're happy to tell you how we interact with state regulations or federal regulations as a company.
I love this. Thank you so much for tying all of these together because they are closely related. And that homeowner education, a lot of that ties with like trying to figure out they heard something in the media with 25D and really having that conversation how that is not relevant. There are other pathways to go forward that are faster and maybe a much better fit for them. So this is great. Thank you so much, both of you. Q&A, my favorite thing. There is a bunch of questions, and please keep them coming. I try to get to all of them. So let's start with this one. Does your AVL allow for ground mounts? Most likely would be non-FIA compliant racking and equipment. Oh, you're on mute.
My fault here. Yes, we do ground mounts, and we are absolutely happy to finance them. And non-FIAC compliant equipment, racking, anything that's non-FIAC compliant, as long as it's on our AVL, which most major manufacturers are on our AVL, we're happy to finance.
Awesome. Then there's a question about the AVL. Will you add manufacturers to the AVL? And then a related question, what does it take to get on your AVL?
Yes, we will add manufacturers to our AVL if that's a question directed towards Sungage. You should reach out to me, and we're going to be asking for spec sheets and warranty information and the company's website and just a little bit of background about the product. And our team will go through and vet that product to make sure it's a good fit. But we do have a very inclusive AVL and offer most major manufacturers and many non-major manufacturers as well if we found that they're a really good product that people want to put on homes today.
To both of the last questions that I just asked, there are follow-ups. So restated, does your AVL allow for ground mount? And the other one is, that was just answered. Yeah, that was just answered. So I think it was clear. So the answer is yes, correct?
Yes. Yep. The answer is yes.
Perfect. And then another question. If a customer wants to prepay and pay off the entire loan after they receive the Illinois state incentives, usually within a year, would it be safe to assume that the Sunrise product would be the most advantageous for them?
I actually think I would go with the Bright Start loan in this case. And the reason why is you can defer the entire amount, or not the entire amount, but up to 50% of the loan in the Illinois case and create an incredibly low year 1 through 3 monthly payment. So the lowest monthly payment that you could achieve in the state of Illinois with that incentive is with our Bright Start loan.
Perfect. Another question on application. Do you allow for solar pergolas and carports? Does that matter?
We do not we allow for solar on top of a carport if it's on the property, but we won't finance the carport.
Got it. Okay, perfect. And then Does Sungage count Tesla Powerwall 3 as both inverter and battery? My understanding is that it's both an inverter and a battery, but I've seen leasing companies not count it as an inverter.
We do, yes, because the inverter is included in the battery.
Correct. And then when are you talking about a 0.76? That's like specifically to you, Jordan, a BayWa bundle. Um, for that, are you just calculating that you can get there, combining the right size system with certain products in the web store? Could you speak a little bit to how you end up with that price, the combination of products?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'm going to give them a special shout out. We have an incredible products team and procurement team, and they put together an incredible sheet that we use internally that breaks all of this down. You don't have to worry about that. That's a little bit of the behind the curtains kind of magic on how we get to those numbers. Essentially, it is not designed for a specific system price. That is a bomb that you could get with your sales rep. You could sit down with your sales rep and say, this is the market I'm trying to break into, and we're really struggling. This is what we currently use. And that sales rep could, with you on the web store or privately, build that bomb with you. That's not designed for a specific system price. You don't have to meet certain thresholds to get that price. We're not hanging that above you and saying, read the fine print. It's nothing like that. That is a true bomb that is ready to roll out right now that you can get set up with your sales, your account manager, your sales team, and we could roll that out as quickly as you wanted it to. And again, it can then be managed from your side through the web store. So very, very, very efficient, not system size tied at all. Again, there's no fine print thing there. But good question. Good question.
Thank you. And it depends on your preferences on what and the application and all that. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. So there is another comment on the previous question on the Tesla Powerwall 3 and the inverter. A little bit more background why this question came about. Leasing companies don't see that as an inverter because they can't double dip on 48E with Powerwall 3 for both PV and storage. Just wanted to share that. Any comment here, Matt?
I'm gonna stay away from commenting on that.
Okay.
That,
Perfect. Let's shift a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about battery financing because we're talking a little Powerwall 3, we're talking Franklin. How should installers position battery financing when homeowners are interested in resilience, but they're worried about the total project cost?
Well, I mean, Sungage has a 20-year loan available for a battery. So if you're looking for a financially viable solution to finance a battery, we have the best option in the marketplace to create a low monthly payment. Um, the battery is going to cost something, and resilience is important, especially in areas that deal with severe weather. And any area, really. I mean, resilience is something that people that add solar and storage to their home are generally very interested in. I'd encourage you to reach out to your Sungage account manager, or if you're not a current Sungage partner, reach out to us. There's a link to become a partner or to chat with somebody at Sungage, and we'd be happy to talk through that at length and in more detail with you. But we finance a lot of battery projects. It's very popular for us.
Amazing. Very good. And for an installer who has mostly sold TPO and leases, what is the first step toward bringing ownership back into the conversation?
I think the first step is evaluating the sales process that you have today and going into a home with a more consultative sales process and understanding the homeowner's goals. If you're going into a home thinking, I'm going to sell a lease or I'm going to sell a PPA, then that's what you're going to lead with. I think that understanding the homeowner's goals is it, it's asking the right questions. And if somebody reaches out, we can help with those questions too. We have some materials available that talk about consultative selling practices when it comes to deciding what financing product to sell. Um, the first step is educating sales teams. If this is an owner of a company asking that question. I think it's as simple as get onboarded with Sungage, or if you already are onboarded with Sungage, invite your account manager to a sales team meeting that you have and let us do a product demo. Let us talk about the best way to talk about solar ownership and solar loans. We've been doing it for 15 years, and we've got lot of great talking points we can give your teams.
Yeah, and that's also a great opportunity to lean into the partnership, together with your BayWa rep and your Sungage rep. So that's a winning combination where you can be helped comprehensively on all ends. Um, so when we talk about, what's the first step to bring ownership back into the conversation, what kinds of installers benefit most from adding Sungage to their financial mix?
I think all installers benefit, right? Having a diverse toolkit to sell when you're in a home to meet everybody's needs is the most important thing when you're selling anything, really, especially when you're combining financing with it. When you've closed a deal and you've bundled financing with it, that homeowner is now stuck with that financing for the next, whatever, 5 through 30 years at that point. And you're going to want them to be happy because if they're happy with their financing, they're going to refer their friends. You're going to build a bigger pipeline of referrals that are coming in that give you the opportunity to sell to more people. So, I'd say everybody benefits from having loans as part of their toolkit in every market.
Yeah. Yes, exactly right. Depending on, what kind of business you have and the benefits for your homeowners as well. Keep those questions coming. We're coming to an end of the presentation. I may just ask one more question to both of you. So where do you see, it's a little bit more like a grand scheme of a thing kind of conversation. Where do you see the biggest opportunity for residential solar over the next year?
Good question. I mean, I can start it. And then Jordan, you can jump in. I think that I see the biggest opportunity in storage. I think over the years, people have looked at the solar and storage industry in general as solar first, storage second. But at this point, I think we really need to be looking at this industry as an energy industry and look at it as a full energy system. Solar is great on its own. Batteries are great on their own. When you put them together, it really is an excellent stack of technology to have in your home to be able to manage your electricity needs, be able to manage demand in your home, be able to stay in control of the miniature power plant that you've built at your own house that you're in control of. So I think that storage needs to be the biggest piece of the conversation at this point. People are sold on solar, but we still see a heck of a lot of deals being sold without storage, and I think storage is a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
bring up a really good point.
yeah, that's a great one, Matt.
Or,
I'm sorry, Daniela. Go ahead. That was a great answer.
yeah, Jordan, thank you for letting me jump in here real quick. So you bring up a great point in terms of like, seeing everything as a whole, like where value is created. And that is certainly, looking at the whole home. And that is solar and storage are just part of that. You can even expand on that when you talk about heat pumps, when you talk about EVs and the technology, smart panels, all of that. So that's where the real value is, and that's kind of like independent on where the regulatory is. So there's a great opportunity for this, and there's no coincidence that also BayWa has been evolving to this whole solution kind of distributor for you. So check out definitely the web store on this one. Jordan.
Yeah, so I mean, Matt is absolutely right. I think that is the clear number one is virtual power plants, battery backups, high energy markets, high energy cost markets. But for me, I'm going to give a couple different answers. At for those of you who were able to make it, our business leadership summit in Austin, Texas, a big conversation was around additional and adder systems, secondary systems, add-ons. I think that is going to be a big market. We're finally starting to reach maybe that 15-year, 20-year mark where so many people went solar early, and those early adopters, well, now they're starting to see, oh, they bought an electric car. Now they need a few more panels or maybe a battery. And that's again to Sungage's strength. They're a great option for that. TPOs typically don't allow for that. Sungage, that would be an easy add. It would make it very, very simple for you and your team to add those systems. But my second point is a little less specific, but I think everyone on this call is going to know what I'm trying to get at here. This is a big opportunity for our industry to kind of rebrand itself. We didn't have the best public perception for a little while, and now we have the chance to kind of not only make it through the next few years and see what shapes out, but we really have a chance to thrive in this kind of environment through partnerships just like this and conversations like this, but also really lean on service and lean on taking care of the customers. To Daniela, your point earlier of, what's best for the homeowner. I think that's exactly how we have to look at the next few years. What's best for the homeowner? What practices can I implement that best take care of the homeowner? And I think combining all of that together is going to really drive us forward in a great way.
Thank you so much. That was great. I also want to share like a comment somebody made in terms of like the biggest opportunity. That's how I interpret your comment. Becoming a lending partner as an installer is a big opportunity in residential solar. So thank you for sharing that. The other thing I wanted to share is some positive commentary on Sungage Financial, being really happy with working with them and knowing that they partnered with BayWa is a great bonus. So can't wait to hear from Jordan to start the process of enrollment. So thank you for that commentary. There are a couple more questions on the Hive calculator. And maybe we want to jump to the next slide, looking at the resources a little bit, because I think we won't have enough time. There were some questions about the calculator and whether it is all updated to select like the loan term and loan rate, et cetera, et cetera. Matt, what would you suggest would be the best pathway to find out about the calculator, to get a training on the calculator? Would that be directly to you or anyone else at Sungage Financial?
Directly to your account manager. The account manager, whoever your account manager is, will be the right person to walk you through that. The calculator should be updated to show all of this. So it may just be a case of needing to, walk through some of the ins and outs. And there's a couple places in our portal where calculators exist. So I'd want to make sure that this person's looking at the correct calculator, and the account manager can absolutely do a training.
So and that would be the sales at sungagefinancial.com is the best way to reach out.
If you're not a partner today, yes. If you are a partner today, you know who your account manager is. And if for some reason you don't know who your account manager is, feel free to email me and I'll connect you with your account manager.
Awesome. And I want to share one more. I love that you're participating in the conversation. So another thing that is a call out here is that service is big, especially with all these companies going out of business, especially in Florida. Couldn't agree more with both what Matt and Jordan just said. So thank you, everyone, for participating, for sharing your opinions, your views, your questions. I hope this was really useful. Please reach out. You will be getting the recording and the deck very shortly. So you'll have it for your documentation to look into it if you want to. And please take advantage of all these resources that you see here, all the email addresses provided. Reach out to us. We look forward to hearing from you and to helping you together with Sungage Financial. Matt, Jordan, thank you so much for being here today, for taking the time to walking us through. This is exciting. I appreciate you, and I appreciate everyone who joined us today.
Thanks for hosting. This has been great.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Talk to you very soon.